teaching jobs in Canada are available for immigrants. But, with Canada being a large, diverse country, opportunities differ in various cities and regions of Canada. Provincial and territorial governments operate their own school systems, and are responsible for setting out the regulations for teaching jobs in Canada. The rules are broadly similar across the country, but with some local differences. Canadian education, an overview. Kindergarten education is available for children in all provinces around the age of 4 or 5. Then, students complete their primary and secondary education, in grades 1 to 12. Students move from primary to secondary school between grades 6 and 8, depending on the provincial arrangements. The schooling process from kindergarten to grade 12 is often referred to as K-12 feet or K to 12 feet. The school year begins in late August, and continues until late June. English language and French language schools are provided across the country. While curricula is set by provincial governments, local school boards have responsibility for things like administration, human resources, and student enrollment. The boards are run by trustees elected by the public. At the end of grade 12, students receive a high school diploma. Universities, colleges, and institutes offer post-secondary education to those who wish to continue their studies. A bachelor's degree in education and a provincial certificate is typically required for teaching jobs in Canada. Obtaining certification can be a slow process, so it's best to start before your arrival in Canada, if possible. Other factors are considered to assess eligibility for teaching jobs in Canada. For instance, the applicant may need recent teaching experience, proficiency in English or French, familiarity with the culture and curriculum of the Canadian education system, fitness to teach, including character reference and successful criminal record checks. Supervised student teaching may also be required. For secondary teaching jobs in Canada, it is recommended to complete a major in one teachable subject, and a minor in another teachable subject. These include languages, sciences, social studies, and business. Given the sheer geographical size of Canada as a country and the political power that each province holds, it is somewhat misleading to try and pick an average salary for teaching jobs across Canada. That said, recent research indicates that of major Canadian cities, Winnipeg is the city with the highest teacher's salary at approximately $102,000 per year, usually for teaching jobs with around 10 years' experience, while Montreal is the lowest with qualified candidates with around 10 years' experience receiving $82,500 per year to teach in this part of Canada in 2019. Entry-level positions offer more modest compensation. Getting a teaching license in Canada as an international teacher can be a complex process, as requirements can vary by province or territory. Here are the general steps you should follow. Research the province-territory requirements. Canada has different requirements for teaching licenses depending on where you want to teach. Each province or territory has its own regulatory body responsible for issuing teaching licenses. Start by researching the specific requirements for the province or territory where you intend to teach. Each province or territory in Canada has its own requirements for teacher certification. For example, in Ontario, the Ontario College of Teachers, October, is responsible for certifying teachers. You can visit their website to find detailed information on the requirements for obtaining a teaching license in Ontario. Credential assessment. You may need to have your educational credentials assessed to ensure they are equivalent to Canadian standards. This process is typically handled by organizations such as the Comparative Education Service, CES, or World Education Services, WES. You'll need to submit your academic transcripts and other relevant documents for evaluation. Let's say you're an international teacher with a bachelor's degree in education from a university in the United Kingdom. Before applying for a teaching license in Canada, you would need to have your UK educational credentials assessed by a recognized organization such as the Comparative Education Service, CES. They will evaluate your degree to determine its equivalence to Canadian standards. Language proficiency. Prove your proficiency in English or French, depending on the language of instruction in your desired province. This usually involves taking language proficiency tests like IELTS or CELTIP for English or TEF for French. Suppose you're planning to teach in a province where English is the primary language of instruction, such as British Columbia. You would need to prove your English language proficiency by taking an English language test like IELTS. For example, you might need to achieve a minimum score of 7.0 on the IELTS academic test. Teaching certification program. Depending on your qualifications and the province's requirements, you might need to complete a teacher certification program. This program can vary in length and content, so check with the specific provincial regulatory body for details. Let's say you've completed your credential assessment, and it's determined that you need additional coursework to meet Canadian standards. In this case, you might enroll in a teacher certification program offered by a Canadian university. For instance, the University of Toronto offers a Bachelor of Education (B.Ed.) program for aspiring teachers. Teaching experience. Some provinces may require you to have teaching experience in your home country or elsewhere before granting you a teaching license in Canada. Check the specific requirements of the province you're interested in. If you're applying to teach in Alberta, they may require you to have a specific amount of teaching experience. For example, you might need to have at least 1 year of full-time teaching experience in your home country or another jurisdiction where you are certified. Criminal record check. You will likely need to provide a clean criminal record check from your home country or any other place you have lived recently. You will need to obtain a criminal record check as part of your application. This typically involves providing fingerprints and undergoing a background check. For example, if you're applying to teach in Quebec, you would need to obtain a certificat de police. Apply to the regulatory body. After meeting all the requirements, you'll need to submit an application to the regulatory body responsible for teacher certification in your chosen province or territory. This usually includes providing all necessary documents, paying application fees, and meeting any other specific requirements. Let's say you've completed all the requirements for British Columbia. You would submit your application, along with all required documents and fees, to the Teacher Regulation Branch (TRB) of the British Columbia Ministry of Education. Additional examinations. Some provinces may require you to pass additional examinations, such as the praxis exams for certain subject areas. Interview and references. You may need to participate in an interview and provide references to support your application. Some provinces may require subject-specific exams. For instance, if you plan to teach science in Saskatchewan, you might need to pass the Praxis 2 biology exam to demonstrate your subject area knowledge. As part of the application process, you may be asked to participate in an interview and provide references. For instance, the Northwest Territories may require you to attend an interview with the Teacher Certification Committee. Continuing professional development. After obtaining your teaching license, you will need to engage in continuing professional development to maintain your certification. Once you obtain your teaching license, you'll need to engage in ongoing professional development. In Manitoba, for example, teachers are required to complete a certain number of professional development hours each year to maintain their certification. Please note that the process can be lengthy and may vary significantly depending on the province or territory. It's crucial to contact the regulatory body in the specific province where you plan to teach for the most accurate and up-to-date information on their requirements and application process. Additionally, consider seeking guidance from an immigration consultant or lawyer to navigate the complex process successfully. Remember that these examples are illustrative, and the specific requirements and processes can vary widely between provinces and territories in Canada. Always consult the official website of the regulatory body in your chosen province or territory for the most accurate and up-to-date information.